So here we're looking at question 4, and remember we noted that in question A and B, x only shows up on one side of the equation, but in questions C and D, x shows up on both sides. So we can use the function machine for these types of questions, but we can't for these. We have to use the balancing method here. So let's have a go at some of these questions. Now, the only thing that makes this a little bit tricky or unusual is the fact that you've got brackets in here. But if you expand out the brackets, this is going to turn into the same kind of question that you've been seeing in question 2. So let's have a look at this. So this 5 next to the bracket means 5 times everything in the bracket. And to help me do this, I normally draw some little eyebrow looking things to show that I'm going to do 5 times x and then 5 times 7. And I'm going to do the same for this bracket as well. So let's see what the next line would be if we expand our brackets. 5 times x is 5x. 5 times a positive 7 is positive 35. And that's going to equal 4 times x is 4x. 4 times a minus 4 is minus 16. Now you might notice this looks just like the type of questions we had in question 2. So if you know how to expand brackets, you can actually, you're only one step away from being able to do this if you could do question 2. So now what are we going to do? Well, it's balancing method. We've got scales here. We've got the left-hand side and the right-hand side. They're equals, which means they are balanced. They weigh the same. I'm going to do something to try and get x's on one side of the equal sign and all the numbers on the other. Now, to decide what to do first, I'm going to look at this side has more x's than this side. So I'm going to start taking away x's from each side till they disappear from one of the sides. So if I take away 4x from this side, I've got to do the same to both sides to keep the equation balanced. What I'll end up with is, on the left-hand side, 5x minus 4x is just x. I've still got this plus 35. Taking away 4x isn't going to change the number 35. On this side, I had 4x. I take 4x, they're going to disappear and become 0, leaving me with just minus 16. Right, I've got algebra and numbers mixed together, and I want algebra on one side, all the numbers on the other. I want to see this positive 35 go away. So I'm going to take it away. Now, to ensure I keep things balanced, I'll do the same on this side. And then let's see what we get as our next line. I put an equal sign to show that I'm doing another step of the solution. X plus 35 minus 35 is just x. Minus 16 and a minus 35. I'm going to have to calculate this in my head. 30 and 10 makes 40. 46, 51. So this is minus 51. X equals minus 51. Next question. Again, let's expand out the brackets and turn this into something that's a little bit easier to deal with. 7 times x is going to be 7x. 7 times 3 is 21, and it's a positive 3, so it's positive 21. 5 times x is 5x. 5 times a positive 7 is positive 35. Now, I need to take away some x's, so I get x's just on one side. There's more x's on this side, so let's get rid of all of these. Take away 5x. That's going to get rid of x's from this side. But remember, to keep things balanced, you always have to do the same thing to both sides. Another equal sign to show we're going to update our equation, if you like. 7x minus 5x is 2x. I've still got that plus 21 because taking away 5x won't affect the number 21. 5x minus 5x is 0. These just disappear, and I'm left with a positive 35. Right, I've got algebra and numbers, and I want just the algebra. So I want to get rid of this positive 21, so I'm going to take 21 away from this side. Remember, you've got to do the same to both sides to keep things balanced. So 2x plus 21 minus 21 leaves me with just 2x. 35 minus 21. Well, 35 minus 20 would be 15, so it must be 14. So 2x is equal 14. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide this side by 2 and divide this side by 2. And the reason I've done that is if I've got 2x and I divide by 2, well, 2 divided by 2 is 1, so I just end up with x. And 14 divided by 2 is 7. So there's my answer. Now remember, you can check whether you got the right answer by putting your solution back into your question. Let's try this out. 7, instead of x, I'm going to put the number 7, because that was our solution, plus 3. Now that should equal, if I've got the answer right, 5, bracket, instead of putting the x, I put this 7, because x equals 7, plus 7. So let's have a look here. 7 plus 3 is 10. 7 times 10 is 70. So on my left-hand side, I've got a 70. Here, I've got 7 plus 7 is 14. 5 times 14. So that's 5 tens and 5 fours. 5 tens is 50. 5 fours is 20. 50 and 40 is 20. Phew, that worked. Okay. So if I put x equals 7 back into my question, it gives me 70 equals 70. And that makes sense. So this must be the right answer. Well done.